Hey friends, it's Brian Hudson. I want to share a brief lesson with you, or a brief exhortation. I'll title this, Pray for the Peace of the City and the Nation. Jeremiah 29 verse 7 says, And seek the peace of the city where I have called you to be carried away captive, and pray to the Lord for it, for in its peace you will have peace. Now today, we do not consider ourselves as carried away captive to our particular nations. Although from African American ancestors who came to America as slaves or were brought to America as slaves, this text would describe their plight. Now, the difference between the Jews who were carried off to Babylon and Africans brought to America was stark. The Jews in Babylon were not mistreated in the same manner as African Americans during slavery. They were not bought and sold and raped and all that the same way that my ancestors were. And that was sadly something condoned by too many in the church in that day. But that said, we have a responsibility to pray for our city and country and seek its peace. And this should be a function of social justice flowing from God's justice and righteousness within our hearts as believers. And how we relate to our city is informed by how we walk with God. Now, as I write this post, we're several days or a week after the election of Joseph Biden and Kamala Harris as president and vice president-elect, respectively. For the first time in my recollection, and perhaps in the nation's history, the sitting president has not recognized the results of the election and has lied about the nature of the election. And this is a very unfortunate development. They're saying the election was stolen and rigged and disrespecting those patriots who count votes. But listen, democracy is voluntary and participatory. It relies on the citizenry to accept the outcome of elections, even if your candidate or my candidate loses. Now it's the responsibility of Christ followers to provide a proper example of citizenship, to seek peace and to pray for the peace of our nation. What makes this cycle troubling is that some Christians have put loyalty to the president over loyalty to the nation, and even loyalty to righteousness principles. And that's not acceptable. So we want righteousness and justice to prevail in our city and nation. And that requires that, again, we would seek the peace and we would pray for the peace. And that seeking the peace, I think, requires speaking out, speaking up, letting one another know that as citizens, we expect justice to be served. We don't believe that any one person, not even the president, can taint our democratic process. And so it's for us as Christians who are citizens then to practice social justice from the righteousness of God that He has given us in our hearts. All right, so let's just speak up. We don't have to argue. We're going to disagree, but let's be agreeable. But I can't see that silence in this time is acceptable. Okay, God bless. Have a blessed day.